Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear distinguished friends from Indonesia, I'm really happy to be part of this international conference on Dawah Communication Studies 2022. It is my pleasure to deliver a lecture about Islam in Albania, a short story of its past, present, and the future of it. History of Islam in Albania and all the Balkans region, goes back to almost 600 years ago, even more. It is known that Islam among Albanians was introduced for the first time from the sailors coming to Albanian shores from Italy and other countries, who came even before the Ottomans. It is claimed that before the Ottomans, it was introduced by the Saracens from the Muslim cities in Italy, or even from Andalusia, nowadays Spain. But the most important time for the introduction of Islam in the Balkan areas is as a consequence of the Ottoman Sultanate large conquests in the 15th century primarily. During the time of the Ottoman State, when Balkan countries fell one after another into the Ottoman rule, the main countries who understood Islam as a system of life, accepted it, and became majority Muslim in this region were the native Albanians and the Bosnians. So, Albanians remained for almost 6 centuries under the rule of the Ottomans exactly until 1912. Following the establishment of the independent Albanian state in 1912, no official state religion was recognized during the interwar period, although freedom to practice religion was guaranteed for all, Muslims and Christians as well. After the communist victory in 1945, there was an intensive drive to educate Albanians towards understanding and accepting the new socialist ideology aimed at destroying the Islamic conservative customs and traditions. This led to the abolition of all religious practices in 1967, when Albania was declared officially with law as the world's first totally atheist state. The majority of Albania's 1,200 mosques of that time were either destroyed or turned into warehouses, sport halls, or cinemas. Until 1945, almost 2/3 of Albania on the map was Waqf by the communists, but the communists was Waqf, Islamic property of Muslims, but the communists have nationalized all the Muslim properties. Many imams, unfortunately, Muslim officials, and great Albanian Muslim scholars were imprisoned, driven out by force from their jobs and the office of the Islamic community, or sent to deportation camps of the communism system. And this happened from 1945 with the communist victory until March 1992, following the end of the one-party state and the coming of democracy, so-called democracy at least, meaning also the end of the communist and atheist regime era for Albanians in Albania. Here we should keep in mind that Albanians are considered yet until now as the biggest Muslim country in the Balkans and Europe. and in Europe. Most of Albanians in Albania are Muslims nowadays, with almost 70% of the whole population. But we need to understand and mention that Albanians are one of the most damaged and divided nations. Our native Albanian lands in the Balkans are located not only in Albania on the map, but even in Greece, the land known as Chameria. Albanians are in Montenegro, in Kosovo, in Serbia and Macedonia. The number of Albanian Muslims is in all Albanian lands is more than 80 to 90% of the whole population. The story of the division of Albanian lands and people started quickly after the Ottomans left the Albanian lands. So we Muslim Albanians remained like orphans in these lands, and the great powers of the time, beginning of the 20th century, divided our lands and people in 5 different countries, mentioned above, leaving Albania in the map with a small mountainous land and with a small number of population. Our neighbor countries, Greece, Montenegro, Serbia, and Macedonia, killed Albanian Muslims, drive them out of the Albanian lands, or even forced many of them to become Christians. These times were the worst times for the Albanian Muslims. Nowadays, we Albanians are still considered as the largest Muslim population and community in the Balkans and Europe, and still we are suffering from many things, only for being Muslims. This also makes the future of Islam and the Muslim Albanians unclear. Unfortunately, many Albanian Muslims today are leaving this country, Albania, and going to Western countries and seek for asylum for a better materialistic life, making the Albanian Muslims leave our lands, and we don't know what will be the percentage of the Muslim Albanians in the future, at least 10 years by now. From the fall of communism in Albania, from that time until now, the Albanian governments have struggled a lot for joining the European Union, but with no success. It is clearly known that Europe doesn't want a Muslim strong country in Europe, and they themselves know that and accept it. And Albanian governments who are not Muslims are helping in this. But Alhamdulillah, it is only Allah who keeps us strong in these lands. Thank you.